Greetings. Today the moon is in Pisces and later in the day joins up with Saturn. We also have Neptune in Pisces, and I thought this would be a good time to take a deeper look at kind of revisiting what are all these Pisces energies about. We've had a lot of discussion about the Mars-Pluto opposition and some of the other alignments. Pluto in very late Capricorn, which of course it still is. And Pluto will be going into Aquarius on the 19th of this month. So let's take a look at what's going on with these outer planets and how we can think about this energy at this point in our time and our history and our evolution. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Sunday, November 10th. Astro Perspective, right? Taking a little bit of a zoom out to look at the outer planets, whereas on my daily throughout the week, typically I talk more about the moon sign, so we can get a sense of the mood of each day and how to work with that and think about how to take care of ourselves, do our self-care, and best organize our time, right? To work with the energies instead of against them. And so I've got those videos every day. And then today, again, zooming out a little bit to look at the outer planets. So with the moon today in Pisces, it just gives us a good time to think about this Pisces energy. The moon will be joining up with Saturn in Pisces, and this bigger picture of the Pisces energy is about the great ocean of being. Pisces is spiritual. It's about transcending the physical world, the limitations and constructs and constraints of the physical world and what it means to be in a body and have our day-to-day world. So when we think about Pisces, we think about what is the bigger picture of meaning in our lives. What do our hearts really want? What do we feel when we feel that connection to all that is and feel that flow of unconditional love of the universe that is there, whether we are paying attention to it or not? And just that part of the zodiac that reminds us that we are worthy of love no matter what. And that is, of course, in an ideal world, tapping into that bigger picture of interconnectedness, transcendence, and the flow of unconditional love. On the downside, Pisces energy can be about confusion. It can be about losing your way of orienting. And so if your daily compass has to do with, knowing where the boundaries and limits are, knowing what's wrong and how to show up in your life every day to think of yourself as someone who needs to be productive or solving problems, we can lose that sense of what orients us and how we know what to do every day when we tap into Pisces energy. So in addition to confusion, Pisces can bring like that fog. It's like the fog rolling in and obscuring the guardrails and the signposts and the ways that we normally understand, the ways that we normally orient ourselves. So when we lose that sense of direction that can happen with Pisces, we may also lose ourselves in terms of a dream or a fantasy. So Pisces has to do with dreams because dreams take us out of the ordinary, right? They take us into this place where we connect with energy. and how you feel in your dream, right? Like the feeling might be really, really real and palpable and potent, and it makes no sense at all. So that's the realm of Pisces. And when we lose our way of orienting or kind of knowing who we are and how things work, it does two things, right? First of all, it makes us feel a little bit lost. But also it can help us remember, oh, there is a bigger picture that I am listening to, and that is my heart's compass. What is it my heart wants? What is it my heart needs? What is my spiritual truth? What is the bigger picture of wisdom, of guidance, of how I connect with what brings meaning to my life? The people I love, the world I care about, the principles and the bigger picture of why we do what we do, right? And remembering and connecting with that bigger picture. So that's the possibility of Pisces. Pisces also, because it has to do with losing our everyday orientation, so to speak, it can get us off on a wrong direction, right? That sense of getting lost or moving in a direction that's maybe not the best for us. So it can speak to themes of addiction, and that can, have to do with substances, but it can also be addictive patterns, addictive habits, addictive relationships, right? All the different ways that we might reach for something that gives us comfort in our lives without doing the expansive work of really moving through our own bigger picture spiritual needs. Um, and sometimes there are some feelings to feel in that. And Pisces is a water sign. We need to feel. Pisces also has to do with grief and loss and letting go. And so, right, when you remember that there is a bigger picture, the things that we get attached to in this everyday life, in this everyday world, may need to change, right? And we are in a Scorpio moon cycle right now. So we're thinking about transformation and what it looks like to let go of old ways of being that no longer serve us. So the Pisces energy can help us connect to a bigger picture of meaning. What is it that we care about? What brings truth to our hearts, meaning to our lives? What is our spiritual compass? And so watching for that tendency to lose yourself in something that you want to be true or something that feels easy or comfortable. And we've had themes, and I've talked about this on videos in the past, since Neptune went into Pisces, outer planet Neptune that stays in a sign for many years. Pisces or Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. And so themes of where do we get our information, right? Losing that sense of orientation. What is it we normally listen to that gives us that sense of structure and boundaries and limits and how we know what's true and what's right? And when all of those ways of orienting ourselves dissolve, we're left having to kind of figure it out, right? Feeling lost in the fog a little bit. And so we've had themes of disinformation and misinformation and outright lies and narratives, conspiracy theories, all the ways that we might lose our orientation and find ourselves following a path that might make sense in the moment, but is ultimately where we've sort of lost touch with what really grounds us and is healthy and what is true, right? So what is true and right? And so if we can recognize, and this is true for everyone, right? All of us need to be thinking about, where have I been, wanting to believe something because it felt good, or because I felt like I was belonging to something, and maybe just asking those deeper questions to say, is this really healthy for me? Is it true? Is it taking me in the direction I really want to go? And ultimately, when we come back to our own ability to navigate um, in the vast experience of the universe and the cosmos, right? We may be looking to the to speak to astrology, right? To look to the stars for our navigation as a metaphor, because we're looking to that bigger picture. It might also be spiritual truths. It might be guidance. It might be your own higher wisdom. These are all bigger picture ways of orienting yourself and navigating through the circumstances that are in front of you. So when we can connect with that bigger picture of knowing who we are and how we navigate, and get out of the ways of navigating that are here in the everyday, that are maybe not right for us, or maybe not true, or maybe lost in the fog a little bit, that is how we want to think about this Pisces energy. So Saturn is in Pisces. The moon today passes by Saturn, activating this experience of what is the deeper wisdom? How do you orient? How do you connect with guidance, and what gives meaning to your life? And Saturn is form. It has to do with structure, limitations, containers. Remember that water needs a container, and water is energy, water is emotion, water is feelings and vibes and intangible things. And so we need to create a container to hold the energy of who we are in the bigger picture. And what does that structure look like? That's what we want to be asking ourselves. How do we orient ourselves? How do we decide who we are? What are we basing that decision on? And do we need to look at a bigger picture of what is true and right for us in this moment, or maybe what is fact checked or factually accurate or evidence based, or whatever we may need to be looking to give us those guidelines? And that with this Neptunian dissolving energy, even things that are evidence based are right, like we have to ask the deeper questions. Who's doing the evidence? Where is the evidence coming from? What is it based in? Who's doing the reporting? Who's making these decisions? And so having that discernment, that a critical eye, which is the Virgo energy, the opposite of Pisces, is going to help us to navigate. And also, I would say, connecting with others, checking with your trusted people. Like, is this true? Does this sound true to you? What do you think about this? How do you think about this? And checking in with information, and ultimately using our own discernment and higher wisdom and ability to decide what it is we trust, because we might be learning how to trust a new structure. And so that Neptunian dissolving, that hopefully this is, I actually have a train of thought here in my Neptune and Piscean moment. But as we release these old systems and structures, there's a letting go process with the Neptune Pisces energy. Neptune is currently at, what is it, 27 degrees Pisces. So it's retrograde, moving backward, after it got to 29 and almost almost Aries, 29 and 55 minutes or something like that, that it reached before it went retrograde. So it's now at 27 degrees. And so there's a letting go process. There is possibly some grief, right? So as we let go of attachments, as we let go of the way that we thought things were going to be, that they aren't, we may need to process some of that letting go and the feelings connected with it. Even if things are changing in a way that is good for you or feels good and right, there still can be a letting go process as we shift and change into our own higher possibilities. We are letting go of old ways of being. So there's still that flow, that Neptunian flow to letting the things move where they need to go, to trusting the process, and also, of course, remembering who we are, to stay grounded so that when things change or feel obscured or dissolve or get foggy and confusing, that we know who we are, where we belong, and basing that on what feels true and right. And also a deeper questioning of like, is that actually true and right? Like the same way that any of us can want, reach for things that are not maybe the healthiest for us, junk food or habits and patterns that maybe you're staying up too late and you really need more rest, whatever that is. We're all human, and so we want to think about information in the same way. Like, what is it we're believing? What is it we are holding on to? And asking ourselves, is this really healthy for me? Is it healthy for my fellow beings? Is it healthy for the world around me? So kind of some bigger picture thoughts, and we may just need to go through a letting go, a surrender, an allowing process, and especially so into next year. Saturn and Neptune both continue in Pisces, and at the end of March of 2025, Neptune goes from Pisces into Aries, where we shift from water to fire, more into action, movement, decision making. And the same with Saturn. Saturn will, a couple months later, towards the end of May of 2025, shift into Aries as well, coming very, very close to Neptune, where they almost conjunct, and then they both go retrograde back into Pisces. So we'll be following that next year. But for now, we want to be optimizing this energy of flow, of heart, of unconditional love. And what is the bigger picture of flow and healing, asking us to let go of, to release. And in that release process, we are, just like the water that cleanses, we are letting go of old things, old ways of being, old habits and patterns that no longer serve us, and clearing that way for the fresh new beginnings that lie ahead. So trust yourself, trust the process, and ask those deeper questions. Is this true? Is it right for me? Is it healthy? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Right? All the good things you ask in elementary school, right? Is it kind? Is it caring? Is it thoughtful? So you could ask yourself those things too. Always good to connect and ask ourselves, is this where I want to be? Am I making choices that I want to be making? So thinking about that today, with the moon going through Pisces, and it will continue in Pisces on Monday, and then it will go into Aries, but we'll still have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So if you're watching this video later, thinking about these bigger picture energies and this energy of release, of letting go, surrender, cleansing, clearing, connecting to a bigger picture, and ultimately connecting with what our hearts want and our higher selves and our higher wisdom want. So opening to that, opening to the ways that we are changing with this Scorpio moon cycle, allowing transformation and allowing this letting go process to take place. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Check back daily for my moon self-care videos. And thanks for being here. I'm Marina Orms. You can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. And thanks for subscribing. I so appreciate your support. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.